Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Bruce Frisco. Todd Mattis is off tonight. It is Friday, the 10th of October. This is CTV News. Tonight, a high-profile appeal. Convicted killer argues for his freedom 9 years after the fact. Easing the cost of living. The feds launch new measures, but are they enough?
And a fair weather Thanksgiving long weekend ahead for the Maritimes. Cool nights and crisp days.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Bruce Frisco.
Good evening. A Nova Scotia man convicted of second-degree murder had his appeal heard in Halifax today. It's a high-profile case. William Sandeson is serving time for the 2015 murder of Taylor Sampson. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness was in the courtroom today and has this report.
From his prison in Quebec, William Sandeson asked the Nova Scotia Court of Appeal to quash his second-degree murder conviction of Taylor Sampson, issue a stay of proceedings, or at least reduce the time before he can apply for parole.
A stay would not reverse the more than 10 years I've been incarcerated and would only modestly accelerate my timeline for release, as I'm eligible for day parole in less than 2 years.
Sandeson was originally found guilty of first-degree murder in 2017. A successful appeal forced a second trial where a jury found him guilty of second-degree murder. Sandeson is arguing police evidence found during a search of his apartment should never have been heard.
There was no objective basis upon which to reasonably form the suspicion that Mr. Sampson could be found in my apartment, let alone suspect that he was in imminent danger.
He's also questioning evidence brought to the Crown by a private investigator that his defense team had hired.
I'm asking this court to definitively slam the door shut so that no future member of a criminal defense team nor any state actor might ever believe that society will tolerate their conspiring to subvert the criminal justice process behind the backs of accused.
The Crown admitted there were mistakes.
This is the case where the police and the Crown screwed up big time.
But Timothy O'Leary argued all the evidence under discussion would have come out during the course of the police investigation.
The police were searching for Taylor. They had exigent circumstances. A warrant was still hours away. Police had no information Taylor was already dead. They had to err on the side of caution and try and find him. The search in the appellant's apartment wasn't perfect, but it was reasonable.
O'Leary closed by saying the missteps did not warrant a stay of proceedings. The court has reserved its decision on Sandeson's appeal. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Halifax.
Just a reminder, for more on that or any of our top stories, you can always visit our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Traffic was backed up on Nova Scotia's Highway 118 after a serious accident this afternoon. Several emergency vehicles responding to the crash near Fall River. It appears a car lost control and ended up in the median of the highway. This all delayed traffic for several hours. There's no word in the extent of the injuries or how many people were in the vehicle. Officials still on the scene, as we heard. Prime Minister Mark Carney has offered Canadians a bit of a preview for things to come in the upcoming federal budget. A trio of affordability measures were announced today, highlighted by plans for automatic tax filing for low-income Canadians. CTV's Avery McCrae explains.
New affordability measures unveiled by the Prime Minister today may have some Canadians feeling extra thankful heading into the holiday weekend.
Bringing down costs so that Canadians can get ahead, that's what we've been relentlessly focused on since being elected just a few months ago.
A trio of affordability measures announced today is headlined by plans for automatic tax filing for up to 5.5 million low-income Canadians. The government says the move would ensure people don't miss programs they qualify for, such as the Canada Child Benefit.
This program will pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in benefits in the next few years that would otherwise be left unclaimed, helping our most vulnerable get the supports that they need.
The move is being met with criticism from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Federal Director Franco Terrazzano says it was only yesterday the feds completed a public consultation on automatic tax filing.
There's no way that government bureaucrats pulled an all-nighter going through thousands of submissions and survey responses from Canadians before sending Carney out this morning to make this automatic tax filing announcement. The CRA, acting as both the tax filer and the tax collector, is a serious conflict of interest.
Second on the agenda was the National School Food Program being made permanent moving forward. The program aids upwards of 400,000 kids nationwide, with Carney saying he is committed to expanding the program.
No child should be going to school on an empty stomach. We all seen the research that's come out saying that when a child has enough to eat, their brains are more active, they'll be able to learn a lot better.
The Prime Minister also says the Canada Strong Pass is being renewed. The pass allowed Canadians to visit various national and provincial parks, museums, historic sites, and travel by rail at a reduced cost. The aforementioned measures will be part of the upcoming federal budget, which is also expected to include some significant cuts to some sectors.
This is going to be a real Jekyll and Hyde budget, and I think it's going to be a fascinating challenge for the government to communicate and have it land positively with the Canadian public.
The federal budget will be released on November 4th. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
The woman in charge of NB Power says she sometimes loses sleep worrying about the utility's money problems. All of this came out during a legislative hearing today as officials try to figure out what to do about the $6 billion worth of red ink. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
You folks have the, frankly, unfortunate job at this point to try to tackle this beast. What's your plan?
It's a question NB Power officials have been asked time and time again. The utility is almost $6 billion in debt. Its debt to equity ratio at 94%.
But my understanding, that is the highest debt to equity ratio of any utility in North America. Are you aware of that?
I can't speak to whether it's the highest in North America, but it is very high.
Of course, Point Lepreau Nuclear Generating Station is blamed for part of that high debt. The current shutdown of Point Lepreau is costing the utility between $1 and $1.5 million a day. And over 4 years, the upgrades to the nuclear station will have cost over $800 million. Another lengthy shutdown is planned for 2026. NB Power's president says the hope is that it's back up to over 90% in 2027. There's also the Mactaquac Dam and its refurbishment price tag of $9 billion over 15 years. To help pay for it all, power rates have gone up 24% since 2023, and they're asking for another 4.75% next year.
Sometimes I lose sleep at night thinking, what do we need to do tomorrow? How do we fix this tomorrow? And what I realize and bring myself back to is we didn't get here overnight. So to think that we can solve this overnight is going to be wrong. We can't. It's going to take time to solve it. And that's why we've been fairly clear in saying we do see future rate increases on the horizon, because we do need to fix this.
And she didn't mince words when speaking to reporters.
We will see debt go up in the next couple of years. I have people contacting me regularly saying that their power is about to be cut off and asking for help.
Clark claims they're waiting for the comprehensive review to be completed to see if there are any Hail Mary ideas that might help their bottom line. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Here now, a live look at Charlottetown, downtown, where it's sunny, although the sun is going down, and still 10 degrees on this Friday night, easing into the long weekend. And it started out cool today, as you said, and then kind of warmed up. Not so bad.
Yeah, and tomorrow's going to be very similar. So expect a brisk start to the day on Saturday, and then the afternoon should feel pretty pleasant across much of the Maritimes. In fact, the afternoon high temperatures for tomorrow, and we're going to take a look at these a little bit later on in the program, are going to be up a couple of degrees even from where they were today, which for parts of the Maritimes was high temperatures approaching the mid-teens. Now, of course, now as we're heading to the first part of this evening, the sun's going down, things are beginning to cool off. So if you're stepping outside right now in Nova Scotia, you're stepping out in temperatures that are mostly in the range of 9 to 11 degrees, so 13 at Lunenburg, between 9 and 11 in Prince Edward Island, and temperatures at this hour mostly between 10 and 14 in New Brunswick. There's a bit of a breeze around as well. Winds out of the west are being sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. We're getting a few occasional gusts still reported up around 30. The wind speeds will continue to diminish as we make our way through tonight, but they'll return again as we head into Saturday afternoon. Breezy for much of the Maritimes for tomorrow, maybe even a little bit more on the gusty side for a few areas of Prince Edward Island and and eastern areas of Nova Scotia. Over on radar and satellite, I don't have a lot to show you because there is an area of high pressure basically in place around the Maritimes, and that's going to linger for tonight and for tomorrow. It's keeping the region relatively clear of cloud cover and free of any precipitation. That high pressure system is moving to a position just to the south of the Maritimes to get Thanksgiving weekend started. Speaking of Thanksgiving long weekend, it's looking pretty fair basically from start to finish, and I'll talk more about that when I'm back a little bit later on, Bruce.
Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes or so. Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. Well, if you haven't heard yet, the mail will start moving again this long weekend, albeit slowly. The union representing striking Canada Post employees says it will transition to rotating stoppages starting tomorrow. Charities are grateful that things will start to pick up again because they have been hurting. CTV's Emma Convey has more on that.
In the last 2 months, the Nova Scotia SPCA has received over 130 seized and surrendered animals from their investigations team. Some have medical needs that are expensive, but with donations down due to the Canada Post strike, they're forced to call on the public for help.
We know that the #1 way that Canadians give and Nova Scotians give is they're either through the mail or they're reminded by the mail to go online. So a post strike is going to result in, just in October, tens of thousands of dollars potentially at loss.
They're not the only ones. Souls Harbor serves 600 meals a day. On Thanksgiving, that doubles.
We rely heavily on donations, and for us, we typically run 4 major campaigns a year: Easter, summer, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So for us, obviously, this has already been a huge impact.
Thursday night, the union representing Canada Post employees announced it will transition to rotating stoppages to get mail and parcels moving. Despite charities' relief, some, like Brunswick Street Mission, are uncertain, leading them to find alternative arrangements.
We don't have the budget to shift majorly, but we've got a crew of volunteers who are going to come, stuff envelopes, and then start over the next 2 weeks, hand deliver mail across HRM.
Hand delivering their donation wish lists, because now is the time they tend to see donations coming in, but none by mail for a month now.
It's dry in terms of mail donations. We do have some people who are shifting to online, finding ways to give online, so that's been helpful, but a lot of people sort of wait for that year-end appeal to drop in the mail.
This year, that hasn't happened. Hospice Halifax provides end-of-life care for free. They were about to launch their fall campaign that sent out over 5,000 previous donors through mail. Now they have to pivot.
We would have expected to receive a lot of donations to come in through mail already, a lot of engagement with us through that letter that goes out as people start to receive it. So we're really trying to look for other ways we can get out in the community.
Another concern is the long-term impact on the bottom line as nonprofits head toward the holiday season. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Village of Memramcook in New Brunswick is offering some financial help to residents hit hardest by the ongoing water shortage. About half the village, about 400 homes, relies on wells, and this year's drought has literally left them dry. The municipality has introduced a reimbursement program covering up to 75% of water delivery costs to the maximum of $1,000 a household. That led to a special council meeting where officials agreed to make water available at a fill station after hearing concerns that a lot of residents just aren't equipped to handle water delivery.
Because of the drought that we're going through, there's a lot of residents that are suffering and for lack of water. For a small fee of $15, they'll be able to fill up a tank up to 1,000 liters of water. So 75% of that $15 can be reimbursed up to $1,000.
Town officials have offered the local rink as a place for residents to take a shower if they need to, and it's also studying the idea of installing a semi-permanent paid water station within the village.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A proposed whale sanctuary project in Guysborough County says it's ready to help Marineland Canada by taking some of the 30 beluga whales that remain at the shuttered Ontario theme park. But as Marineland looks to sell off the animals, questions are swirling if the site in Nova Scotia can actually get the required approvals in time. CTV's Jesse Thomas has more on that.
Marineland Canada says none of its beluga whales in captivity should go to Nova Scotia, where a whale refuge is being proposed for an inlet along the eastern shoreline near Sherbrooke. Earlier this week, the federal government blocked Marineland's sale of its 30 beluga whales to an aquarium in China. A senior government official said the deal violated laws here that ban keeping whales for breeding and entertainment. Marineland says they have run out of export options and of money to care for the whales. Here in Nova Scotia, the Whale Sanctuary Project believes they can help. CEO Charles Vinnick believes the sanctuary in Guysborough County could welcome some of the belugas next summer, but they're still awaiting government permits.
I think we can, with everything coming together, welcome whales sometime next summer. I don't want to be more precise than that because we don't have everything in place today at the moment.
Marineland, which closed last year, has asked Ottawa for a bailout to care for the captive whales, suggesting euthanasia if they can't sell them. A former Marineland trainer calls that threat an empty one.
What Marineland's doing now with their threats is bluster. I got to remind people that maybe on paper, Marineland's made things such that they can file for bankruptcy and declare a financial crisis. But they're sitting on 700 acres of prime land in Niagara Falls.
The idea of threatening euthanasia is just outrageous.
Vinnick is urging the Ontario government to step in and seize the animals and medically assess them and consider options here. But Marineland is against that move, suggesting the Wine Harbor site isn't environmentally safe and lacks funding.
And all of the results of those studies show that there are no risks to the whales or certainly to any of the people that would be working on site.
If there's one thing the former whale trainer and Marineland can agree on, says Demers, who was at one time a funding partner of the Whale Sanctuary Project, is that the Nova Scotia site isn't a viable option.
They were never even a possibility. They're not able to get the land lease agreement. They're not able to get the permits necessary.
Given the situation at Marineland, there is a sense of urgency to save the whales. Vinnick remains hopeful that Nova Scotia can be a part of that solution. Bruce.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. CTV's Jesse Thomas reporting from Halifax tonight. A new chapter in health research is underway in New Brunswick, an expansion of the Atlantic Cancer Research Institute. University of Moncton and Vitalite Health Network joining forces to launch the New Brunswick Health Research Institute. The new organization won't just focus on cancer anymore. It will also target mental health and other areas. The expansion is expected to cost millions of dollars.
Bringing in people that work on aging, on neurosciences, in other areas of research.
So globally, it's about close to 20 million that all the partner brings together. And in the next 5 years, we're going to add about $500,000 to specifically to support research projects.
Officials say the center will bring hospital and university researchers together under one roof, attracting new investment from private companies and more students to the school. Win-win all around. Okay, still to come, Kaylin's full forecast now that the long weekend is upon us. First, though, changing tides.
Canada has an important role when it comes to NATO in dealing with the North Atlantic and the Arctic.
It's more than a bureaucratic change. The federal government is bringing the Canadian Coast Guard under the defense umbrella. I'll tell you why next.
I'm Kathy Lee in Strathmore, Alberta, tonight on CTV National News. A Canadian man's desperate search for relief from excruciating pain.
I don't wish this on anybody.
Why he flew across the Atlantic for hip surgery instead of finding relief at home. Tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Major change is coming to how Canada protects its coastlines. The federal government is officially bringing the Coast Guard into the country's defense team. As CTV's Hafsa Arif tells us tonight, it's a move aimed at strengthening maritime security and safeguarding sovereignty, especially in the Arctic.
They've long watched over Canada's waters, guiding ships through ice, rescuing those in danger, and keeping the country's coastlines safe. Now the Canadian Coast Guard is taking on a bigger mission, joining the national defense team.
The world is changing. There are a number of countries that don't believe that Canada has sovereign waters, certainly in the Arctic. And we're having to contend with this, and we're obviously making the secure and sovereign investments we want to make.
The integration means tighter coordination between departments and new authority for the Coast Guard to share information related to national security.
We can collect a lot of information for safety purposes and share it for safety purposes. But if you take that information and use it for security purposes, then that becomes illegal. So with our new mandate, we will have that legal.
This comes as global competition grows in the Arctic, where melting ice is opening new routes and raising new security concerns.
Presence of foreign state actors, sometimes legitimate, there for research purposes, sometimes not. And this will also allow us to connect more directly and be more interoperable with our United States cousins.
Officials say it will help Canada monitor foreign ships, research vessels, and potential threats more closely.
There's a general sense of excitement because we're always open to do something different, something more, and that's exactly what that brings.
Through this partnership, 6,000 members are joining the defense team, but the Coast Guard will still stay civilian.
Canada has an important role when it comes to NATO in dealing with the North Atlantic and the Arctic. And so we have a situation where the Coast Guard is going to be of great help.
For generations, the Coast Guard has watched over Canada's water. Now, as part of the defense team, it'll help defend them too. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Dartmouth.
Thank you, Hafsa. Still to come tonight, Richard Krause gives us some suggestions as to what to go to see at the theater this long weekend. First, though, it's Kaylin Mitchell with the detailed long weekend weather forecast. That's when we come back. Beautiful fall colors today and a very pleasant afternoon in Mineville, Nova Scotia.
That's nice.
It is nice.
You know, oh, sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
No, I'm just going to say, we all admire the colors when they're here, and then it seems like every year we'll get that one event, and then we lose them all in a couple of hours.
Yeah, you're talking about a wind event, of course, right? Yeah. Well, one of those is not in the forecast for this Thanksgiving long weekend, so you get to enjoy the colors out there now. I was just going to mention that one of the things that I noticed, especially here in the Maritime, so we get those reds, those oranges around waters, like rivers and lakes. I think it really makes the blues in the water pop out.
Yeah, it does. I hadn't actually thought of that, but that's very true.
We'll see that in our viewer picture at the end of the show, by the way, coming up tonight. Let's take a look at weather conditions quickly across the country. There's some rain around the south coast of BC, Vancouver, Victoria, 12 degrees, rain being reported. It's sunnier towards the north of BC, though, and warmer. Fort St. John, 20 degrees. It's also a bit of a ridge that's built up through parts of the prairies. They've had a very warm day. Edmonton now up to 22 degrees. Same thing goes for Fort McMurray, low 20s in southern areas, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, 17. But there's a change coming. There is a cold front that's going to be dipping north to south across the prairies, really lowering those temperatures over the next couple of days. You can see Yellowknife, it's already on the cooler side of that front, sitting at 6. Speaking of cool, Iqaluit right now sitting at 2 degrees. In southern Ontario, temperatures mostly around the mid to high teens. Here in the Maritimes, we've got 13 at Fredericton, 11 at Halifax and Charlottetown, and 5 degrees at St. John's. Now, it is high pressure in place for tonight, so we're looking at fairly clear night sky conditions. There might be just a few high clouds drifting through. It is going to be a brisk night once again, so expect to feel that first thing Saturday morning. And then in the forecast for Saturday, at that area of high pressure sitting just to the south of the Maritimes, again, a lot of sunshine, be a great day for any sort of fall activities, heading out and taking a look at the leaves, for example. A little bit of a mix of sun and cloud developing in the north of New Brunswick as we make our way through the afternoon hours. There might also be just a few clouds that drift across parts of Prince Edward Island and Cape Breton late afternoon and into Saturday evening. There will be a bit of a change on Sunday with some cloud cover increasing in the southwest of Nova Scotia and the southwest of New Brunswick. And then for the Maritimes in general, more clouds expected to move in for the start of next week. Now, winds of the forecast for tomorrow remain mostly out of the west, and they'll be breezy for a good portion of the region with gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. But some of the peak wind gusts expected to be closer to 50 in the afternoon for parts of Prince Edward Island, the north shore of Nova Scotia, and Cape Breton. So for that part of the Maritimes to describe tomorrow's wind conditions is a bit more blustery. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight. For many areas of New Brunswick will be falling in the range of 2 to 6 degrees, down to around -1 up in the northwest. For Prince Edward Island tonight, most low temperatures falling into a range of 4 to 8 degrees, and a lot of low temperatures tonight for Nova Scotia between 4 and 8, though close to 10 at Shettycamp and 9 at Yarmouth. Tomorrow's high temperatures up a couple degrees from today. So highs 16 to 18 in the north of New Brunswick. Pretty pleasant mid-October day. 19 for Fredericton for tomorrow. St. Stephen, Campobello, a little bit cooler. Graham and Anne, 16 degrees there, and 18 degrees for both Sussex and Moncton. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures. 17 for Summerside, 16 and around Cavendish, back up to 17 for Charlottetown, 16 at St. Peter's Bay and Montague, and then 15 at Surrey. In Cape Breton, it's highs around 17 for Sydney. A little bit cooler in Inverness County, so 14 for Shettycamp and Inverness, 17 at Port Hawkesbury, around the north shore of Nova Scotia, New Glasgow, Antigonish, 18 degrees, 17 on the eastern shore. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia with high temperatures in the mid to high teens for tomorrow, so 15 to 18 degrees. If you're in the Annapolis Valley, it's looking very fair in the afternoon with highs around 18 and 16 for Digby, 16 at Yarmouth as well, and 18 degrees for both Shelburne and Liverpool on the south shore. Taking a look at the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick. So coming up on Sunday, it's a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures cool a couple of degrees in the northeast wind, increase in cloudiness on Monday, down to a chance of showers on Tuesday of next week, then a mix of sun and cloud, and temperatures a little bit more towards the milder side on Wednesday before a chance of showers on both Thursday and Friday. For Nova Scotia, in the forecast coming up on Sunday, it's a mix of sun and cloud, highs around the mid-teens, increasing cloudiness on Monday, high temperatures low to mid-teens. Chance of showers after that on Tuesday, followed by cloudy periods for Wednesday, then a mix of sun and cloud on Thursday, and finally, chance of showers, temperatures a little bit cooler on Friday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island on Sunday, it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud, highs for around 14. 14 on Monday as well, up to 16 degrees though for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and then that's followed by a chance of showers Thursday and Friday. Bruce.
Thank you, sir. Wake up weather still to come at the end of the broadcast. Coming up next, we'll chat with film critic Richard Krause about the latest at the theater and on your TV at home. And later, Katie is on the scene.
Hey, it's Katie Kelly. Tonight on The Scene, I've got your local entertainment headlines covered. From concerts to comedy, award shows, and more. All the stories everyone's talking about coming up.
Okay, enjoy your weekend. We're going to be back on Tuesday with another chance at Virgin Radio's 5K a day. You could win $5,000. Keyword starting at 7 a.m.
Plus, you could win $50 to St. Louis Bar and Grill. Happy Thanksgiving and good luck.
Friday night upon us again, long weekend, and for lots of folks, that means it's a great night to head to the movies or curl up in front of one on the television. Joining us tonight to talk about some of the newest offerings, we are always happy to welcome CTV film critic Richard Krause to the program. Thanks for speaking with us tonight, Richard.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So let's head to the theaters first with a movie called Roofman. We'll take a quick look.
We all like going back in time and imagining how things could have gone differently. Like, what if I made different choices? Would I have ended up here?
Okay, so this is based on a true story, right, Richard?
It is, and it's one of those stranger than fiction true stories. It's the story of Jeff Manchester, who was an Army veteran. He comes home to the United States, and he's kind of cut loose. There's not a lot of opportunity for him. His family is falling apart. So he uses the training he got in the Army to start a new career as a criminal. He becomes a thief who robs McDonald's restaurants. He comes in through the roof, which is why they call him Roofman. And he figures if he does 45 of these robberies, he has enough money to get a car, get a house, get his life back in order, and then go straight. So he does 45 of them. Unfortunately, on the 45th one, he gets arrested, goes to jail, and missing his children, he decides to break out. And it's a wild breakout, but the wild part of the story is yet to come. He ends up living for about 8 months, hidden inside a Toys R Us store. And apparently this is all true. Now, that's really when the movie starts to find its legs. It was a true crime drama. Now it turns into a little bit of farce and a little bit of, stranger than fiction storytelling. And then there's a romance that comes on top. And what you have here is a bunch of elements that are like puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together, although Channing Tatum and his innate likability really goes a long way to saving this movie. But I wanted just a stronger story from it, even though it's based on a true story. But it's called Roofman, and it's in theaters right now.
Still interesting to see unique pieces coming together. It's something original.
Absolutely.
For a change, right? Okay, next up, a familiar and popular story, a new offering here. Let's take a look at Tron Ares.
I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier.
Okay, am I right to think this is some kind of a cautionary tale about AI? Is that what we're seeing here?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Hollywood and their fear of AI taking everyone's jobs is really manifesting itself in a lot of movies these days. You'll see a lot of AI storylines, usually not all that favorable toward the AI, and that's what you have here in Tron Ares. It's been 15 years since the last Tron film. In this one, you've got two warring CEOs of big tech companies. One is evil and wants to use AI to create soldiers that cannot be killed, and they're smarter than everybody else and all that stuff. And the other one is on the side of the angel. She wants to use technology for good. That brings them into conflict, and in the middle of this conflict is a soldier named Ares, played by Jared Leto, who is AI, but finds his humanity. He wants to be like Pinocchio and become a real boy. That's the storyline. The story here doesn't matter that much because it's just a vehicle to give us some extraordinary looking visuals. You've got a couple of incredible fight scenes and chase scenes and all that kind of thing, and a wicked score by 9 Inch Nails. So this movie is like 2.5 stars for the story, but 3.5 stars for the visuals and the music. It's called Tron Ares, and it's in theaters right now.
Perfect. And finally, here's one for the crowd staying at home. We'll take a look at John Candy, I Like Me. And this is on Prime.
Who are you?
I'm a Mog. Half man, half dog.
Gus Walensky, Polka King of the Midwest.
Del Griffith, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
John Candy, one of those iconic Canadians who makes you smile even before he says a word.
Absolutely, and you'll find yourself smiling a lot at this movie. It's a cradle to grave documentary in that it starts at the very beginning of his life, how he wanted to be an athlete, an injury scuttled that plan. It takes us through Second City, through SCTV, through his movie career, and all the way along, especially when we get into the SCTV years, you'll find that some of these clips, which are 40, 50 years old, can still make you laugh very much. John Candy was a very funny person. Then you've got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Uncle Buck, and Splash, and all the other stuff. So it's a really good career retrospective. As you get to the end of the film, though, it turns a little bit more serious, and it profiles the anxiety that he felt and the clarity that he wanted to try and figure out where his career would go next. Unfortunately, we lost him 30 years ago, but John Candy, I Like Me, is a really good testament to someone who wanted to entertain, wanted to please people, and all these years later, even though he's not with us, his talent remains behind in movies like this. John Candy, I Like Me is on Prime Video right now.
And I heard I've heard some other people talking about how it exposes some insecurities we wouldn't expect about Mr. Candy. He didn't like people making fun of his weight, for one thing.
Well, it's extraordinary, the interviews that they show from the 80s and I guess early 90s, where it's a subject of conversation in these interviews, and it looks hurtful. He tries to blow it off and make jokes about it, but you can tell inside it's hurting him a little bit.
For sure. Richard, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time tonight, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And to you too. Thanks.
CTV film critic Richard Krause joining us tonight from Toronto with some thoughts on new movies just in time for the long weekend. Stay with us. Be right back. In the Lifeline tonight, an advancement in research using a genetically modified pig organ. CTV's Amanda Debison has more.
Doctors in China say they transplanted a genetically modified pig liver into a 71-year-old man who lived 171 days after the procedure and 38 of those days were with the pig organ in place.
It's a first to be published in a peer-reviewed journal. Scientists have had early success transplanting genetically modified pig kidneys and hearts into humans, but experts in this field have had some concerns about whether the liver would be a good candidate for such a procedure. Experts say the results of this new study suggest that pig-to-human liver transplantation shows promise for use as a bridge to help a human who has a serious liver condition live long enough for enough of their own liver to recover, or for a donor human liver to become available. South of the border, California has become the first state to legally define ultra-processed foods and ultimately ban them from being served to school children. The state legislature passed the first of its kind bill last month. It defines ultra-processed food as food which may contain ingredients like high amounts of saturated fat, sodium, added sugar, as well as certain additives. The law also requires public health officials and scientists to decide which ultra-processed foods are most harmful to human health. Foods of concern would then be removed from school menus. The law requires the foods to be identified and phased out in 10 years' time. Finally, researchers in Calgary are seeking your toenail clippings for a lung cancer pilot study.
Toenails are a very good long-term, what we call biological archive of long-term exposure.
Researchers from the University of Calgary say measuring radioactive lead in toenails can help estimate long-term exposure to radon, the second leading cause of lung cancer in Canadians. The colorless, odorless radioactive gas forms naturally when certain metals break down in rocks, soil, and groundwater, and it goes through cracks and gaps in buildings and homes. NB Lung says about a quarter of New Brunswick homes have unsafe levels of radon. The Canadian Cancer Society-funded project is hoping to recruit 10,000 Canadians and their toenails. Participants must test their homes for radon and send in their toenails for analysis. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
On the scene now with Katie, the African Nova Scotia Music Awards handed out in Halifax last night.
Yes, Bruce, and there was one name that stole the show.
I think about you, baby, night and day. It's just a feeling, but you're mine, no mine.
Jupiter Rain dominated the night, taking home 3 top honors, including Single of the Year, Album of the Year, and Artist of the Year.
Wow.
Micah Smith was recognized twice as Industry Professional of the Year and the ANZMA Development Award. Other winners included Haley Smith as Emerging Artist, Blessing Tang Band for Songwriter of the Year, and Harms for Music Video of the Year. The full list of ANZMA Award winners is available online.
Congratulations to all of them. Popular comedian heading our way comes.
Yes, Bruce McCullough, best known for Kids in the Hall, will perform in New Brunswick.
He's hilarious.
McCullough will bring his Dark Purple Slice tour to the Capitol Theatre in Moncton on April 24th. The actor, comedian, writer, and director is a founding member of the legendary Canadian sketch troupe, The Kids in the Hall. Tickets for this are on sale right now.
We've had him right here in this building for an old Live at 5 show.
Really?
He was hilarious. He did that.
Oh, I would love to meet him.
Chatting with him in the parking lot, so you make you laugh.
Oh, so fun.
Tribute to the Man in Black coming to the Maritime.
Yeah, Bruce. So Rob Smith's Johnny Cash songbook is earning rave reviews.
See the sunshine, I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. That time keeps dragging on.
This show features a full band with classics from Johnny and June. You can catch the Johnny Cash songbook October 11th at Celtic Colors and October 19th at the Imperial Theatre in St. John. I think you'd like that, Bruce.
Timeless tunes there, isn't it?
That's for sure. A lot of people love that.
Brand new music festival taking over downtown Dartmouth this weekend.
Yeah, so it's called the Nowadays Festival. It's on now and running through October 11th.
I was ashamed of my own mind. It was as hard as one day, as dark as your night.
The event is bringing some of the hottest names in indie and experimental music to the Maritimes. The lineup includes visiting acts like these guys, The Weather Station, and plenty of East Coast talent, too. All of it is happening in venues across downtown Dartmouth, like I said, on for the next 2 days.
Fantastic. And a last call now for musicians.
Yes, Bruce. So submissions to perform on the Christmas Daddies Telethon are about to close.
Like a brother.
If you're a musician and you'd like to apply, head to the Christmas Daddies website and follow the instructions. The deadline is October 14th. This year's telethon airs Saturday, December 6th, right here on CTV.
We'd love to see you. All right, have a great weekend.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
And you, yeah.
you.
Here's a look at tonight's primetime lineup.
Mornings with Crash and Sarah Betts.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving. We're thankful for you.
And we'll be back Tuesday morning starting at 6 a.m. when Dream Big and Beat the Bank continue.
$20,000 to buy a lot of turkey.
On the markets, frankly, a down day. The Dow ended the day down 878 points. In fact, all the markets sank today after a post from the American president. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more on that.
Markets took a steep U-turn this morning after Donald Trump posted online about China. The post reignited fears of the trade war getting worse. Trump threatening to increase tariffs on China because Beijing is again tightening exports of critical minerals, which are crucial to both technology and defense firms. The North American market sank, with the tech-heavy NASDAQ losing more than 800 points. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar down to 71.43. West Texas Intermediate crude is down more than $2.50 to 58.48. Western Canadian Select is down over $1 to 50.36. And the TSX sank today, losing 419 points and dropping under 30,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Thank you, Marella. We'll head outside now to Kaylin on the weather deck for a look at the wake up. The sun, well, I was going to, no, it's this. I'm seeing the sun set. You're not.
Yeah, it's dark out here now, Bruce. It's cool. The wind is down, so it's a little bit more pleasant out here on the weather deck compared to yesterday evening. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. This is a beautiful one. This one's coming in from Westville, Nova Scotia. And you can see sort of the fall colors lining that river as it moves through. Blue sky, blue waters there. I want to thank Angie Billard very much for taking the time to share this picture with us. Westville for tomorrow. You know, after a brisk start to the day, it's looking pretty pleasant. Sunshine and a high temperature near 18 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow. Morning temperatures for most of the region will be around the mid to high single digits. There'll be a few clouds around to start the day. And then heading into the afternoon, mostly sunny, except for a mix of sun and cloud for northern areas of New Brunswick. And pretty pleasant feel to the air with high temperatures coming up towards the mid to high teens, so around 15 to 19 degrees across the region. Bruce.
All right, thanks, sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Finally tonight, a true Swiftie in Minnesota is combining her love for Taylor and her love of Halloween, and she's kind of going viral for it. Front of this house all decked out with the theme of Life of a Show Ghoul. Skeletons dressed in their best bedazzled costumes and feathered boas. The walkway lined with frighteningly reimagined album covers. There's even a nod to Swift's cats and her fiancé Travis Kelce's podcast. Plus, there's a whole bucket full of friendship bracelets, bookmarks, and trinkets for Swifties to exchange. That is the program for this Friday night. The rebroadcast starts in just a moment over on CTV2. And, of course, CTV News Atlantic.ca updates right around the clock. I'm Bruce Frisco in for Todd Battis tonight. I'll be back with your next newscast at 11:30 this evening. Thank you for watching this one. We leave you with soaring high above the fall colors in the beautiful Margaree Valley of Cape Breton this evening. Have yourself a good night and a great weekend.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.